Thank you so much for tuning into another one of our valuable videos in regards to foreclosures in North Carolina. We've got lots of great content that'll really be a benefit to you on our website at www.foreclosuresolutionsnc.com. We invite you to go there, and if you're struggling with foreclosure, you're going to find a lot of great insight on how to handle it so that you can actually come out on the other side a winner, and you don't have to lose your home. So we hope you find that valuable. Today, I've got another video I've made for you that I think applies even if you're not in foreclosure. Has to do with homeowners associations, and really, I call it, the name of the article is homeowners associations: the good, the bad, and what is changing. And so that's what I just wanted to share with you today. There's some good things I think happening. Let's start off with the basics. What is a homeowners association? Oftentimes referred to as an HOA. That's probably a very common term. And what it is, it's really just an organization that's established within a residential community. That could be a housing subdivision or a condominium complex or a larger planned development. And what they do is they're there to manage and enforce rules for the protection of the property and the residents. The real focus and primary purpose of an HOA is to maintain the property values, manage the shared amenities, and to create a sense of order in the community. HOAs typically collect monthly dues from homeowners to fund the services such as landscaping and maintenance of the common area, security, and really like community events. So let's talk about some of the benefits of an HOA. Living in that HOA governed community can really offer some advantages. Residents often enjoy a well maintained neighborhood, access to amenities like pools, tennis clubs, courts, and country clubs or clubhouses, and often a consistent aesthetic appearance that does help to preserve your property values. HOAs can also provide sort of a structured process for resolving disputes that might arise between neighbors and address the issues. Uh, you know, HOA often comes with potential downsides um, that you need to be aware of. Homeowners must follow the association rules and pay the regular assessments. And they can increase over time. Some residents, find these rules restrictive and feel that enforcement is inconsistent and overly aggressive. Uh, Perhaps most controversial though is that HOAs have significant legal power, including in some cases the ability to place liens on your homes or even to foreclose for unpaid dues or fines. Now, for many North Carolinians, these powers have become a source of real concern and debate, especially as stories are emerging of homeowners losing their homes over relatively small debts. In 2025, North Carolina lawmakers are really considering some major reforms that could reshape the balance between HOAs and homeowners. So, under the North Carolina law currently, HOAs have the authority to place a lien on a property when the homeowner falls behind on their assessments or their dues, and in some cases, fines for rule violations. If the debt remains unpaid, the HOA can initiate foreclosure proceedings, and sometimes even before the lender does. This process has led to stories of homeowners losing their homes under under over relatively small debts, and that really has sparked a lot of public outcry and calls for some reform. Now, the ability for an HOA to foreclose is unique compared to what other creditors have. Unlike banks, and HOAs are not subject to the same level of regulatory oversight And their board members are often made up of just volunteers from that community. So critics would argue that this can lead to some inconsistent enforcement, some lack of due process, and in rare cases, abuse of power. So homeowners really have reported feeling blindsided by the legal notices or overwhelmed by the mounting fines and legal fees. Recognizing these concerns, North Carolina lawmakers have introduced two major bills, House Bill 444 and Senate Bill 378. And both of them are aimed at overhauling how HOAs operate, especially regarding these foreclosure powers. Now, just to review an overview of what are some of those changes that are being proposed is that HOAs will be prohibited from initiating a foreclosure for unpaid assessments until the delinquency has persisted for at least 180 days, which is 6 months. This will give the homeowners, more time to catch up before facing that threat of losing their home. And the next one is before any foreclosure action, homeowners must HOAs must provide the homeowners with both a physical mail and an email, assuming that the homeowner has an email, that will ensure that the homeowner is fully informed and has a chance to respond and resolve the debt. Next is the fines for rule violations would be capped at $100 per day, with a maximum of $2,500 per violation. More importantly, foreclosures would be eliminated from liens related to fines and violations. Instead, HOAs would have to pursue a civil judgment, making it really harder to foreclose solely over fines. The fourth one is before filing a lawsuit, HOAs and homeowners would be required to attend mediation. And the reason for that is it really wants to resolve these disputes without a lot of the costly legal and stressful litigation. Another thing is that the new rule would give the courts more discretion in awarding attorneys' fees, but potentially reducing the financial burden on homeowners who challenge an HOA in court. And lastly, the Department of Justice would be tasked with collecting and publishing data on homeowner complaints against HOAs. And this would increase some of the public oversight and create more accountability. I think all of those things are great changes to the current law. So, what is driving these changes? Lawmakers cite a need for greater transparency, fairness, and consumer protection. The reforms are designed to prevent situations where homeowners lose their homes over just minor debts or procedural missteps while allowing the HOA to collect dues necessary for the community upkeep. However, some HOA advocates warn that making foreclosures more difficult could lead to higher delinquency rate, shifting the financial burden onto the other residents, and really threatening the financial health of some of the communities. So, what should you do as a homeowner if you're in one of these HOA communities? um, well, now is the time to pay attention, right? These bills are still moving through the legislative process and they could be amended before becoming law. So homeowners should do three things. You should stay informed on the progress of House Bill 444 and Senate Bill 378. You can easily access the bills if you go on Google or online and just do a search for those bills, House Bill 444 or Senate Bill 378. The other thing is you should communicate with your HOA board about how these changes might affect your particular community. And lastly, you want to reach out to your legislators about your perspective and your concerns in regards to your HOA and these new law changes. So, some final thoughts. The powers of HOA to foreclose on homes is a pretty serious one. And in North Carolina, it's really is on the cusp of making some significant changes to ensure that power is exercised fairly and transparently. So whether you're a homeowner or a board member or simply interested in property rights, these reforms could make a lasting impact on your community across the state. So if you want more valuable information on anything related to the foreclosure process in North Carolina, we invite you to visit our website. It's www.foreclosuresolutionsnc.com. And once again, thank you so much for joining us here today for this video.